Hello, Biotrash fans. It is I, the Biotrash Man here, and what you're watching here is some Counter-Strike Source gameplay. It's on a modded deathmatch lobby, and the reason I'm playing this is because I was getting about 9 frames per second, and it was so laggy. It was unplayable to play the main game. So I'm playing this instead. If you like it, good. If you don't like it, well, hopefully you like the next one. But this actually has something to do with what we're talking about here today, which is the future of first-person shooters. Now, what that means is I've taken some time into deductive reasoning, taking the past PC games, what we can, next-gen titles that are currently announced and what we've seen from them, and everything, kind of just deductive reasoning, locked out what people might not like based off past events, and kind of figured out where I personally think the genre's headed. This does not mean it's 100% true. This does not mean I have inside sources. Do not get me wrong. I know nothing about the inside the industry. I'm just talking about what I think I found out, which probably ends up being nothing, but hey, whatever. It's still fun. So, Counter-Strike actually has to do with what we're talking about, because Counter-Strike was a very innovative game at its time. It was the different game mode to what everything else had been. It was actually extremely different. These were back in the days where, I think as someone put it, Counter-Strike Source, you could get hit in the shot in the head and run at full speed, but these were back in the days where you could get shot in the head at the rocket launcher and still run at full speed. So, as you can see, there is a bit of difference here. It was super popular because of the varying game mode, and it just really helped strengthen the popularity of the genre, which can really show people nowadays are starting to get tired of Call of Duty's boring game modes over and over and over again. I like for Call of Duty personally, but it would be nice to see them add some innovation like Black Ops did with Gun Game, and what's that one called? One in the Chamber. I thought those were actually pretty innovative, I mean, for Call of Duty anyways, in console, and made it really fun. Gun Game had, of course, been around already, but this was the first time we saw it really refined. If I'm wrong, please link me and I'll correct myself and give you all credit. But, as I was saying, as we can see, I hope next generation will have varying game modes. More and more. Battlefield really did that good with their DLCs. As much as I'm not a fan of DLCs, but they really kept adding new game modes. They added gun game, they added air superiority, which is probably one of my favorites of all time. And they didn't just rehash new maps. They actually added some value to it. And as we can see, since next gen are really following these just giants, anyone is following the AAA titles, Call of Duty, Battlefield, BioShock, all the AAA first-person shooters. We're gonna see a start varying of their game modes more and more as they try to diverse themselves from each other. However, the smaller AA titles and A titles, I guess you call them, B titles, whatever, they're going to be following these bigger guys, so they'll spread out these to more popular subsets. However, this could already be deducted just by thinking things have to change, and that's good. So, I mean, this wasn't really that big of a surprise. What we're also going to be looking at here is the gameplay itself is going to change. Not just by game modes, but by how people play the game itself. With the engines such as Frostbite 2 and Frostbite 3, if you like that stuff. It really is a very high-tech engine once it's utilized properly. This is still in the very early stages of the engine's life, and we don't know how to use everything in it yet, and, make everything. There's a lot of stuff like Battlefield 3. Its big selling point was you can destroy buildings, but there wasn't really a lot of destroyable environment. The terrain wasn't destroyable, like you couldn't shoot a giant tank missile into the ground and there'd be a giant crater there that was actually noticeable. It'd be fairly small and really you wouldn't give a second thought. You'd think it was just part of the game. Which, we're going to see that change as the Frostbite 3 engine really starts to become more used and people can code better with these types of engines. We're going to see a lot more people trying to utilize that, and through that, people's way that they play the game is going to change. There's no longer going to be a ton of rushing and just straightforward charge. We may see it become more tactical, or I could be completely wrong and it could just stick to, 250 versus 250 and everyone runs straight at each other. So, if it's that, whatever. we're also going to be seeing a lot more people on games. This one is 100% true, because the Xbox One and PS3 are virtually just computers. Their architecture is basically the same thing to a computer you have sitting at your desk right now if you play video games on it. And this is good, I guess. I can't really see a bad side right now. If you can think of one, just let me know. Again, I will give you all credit for it, I'm not gonna lie. But this will mean that Battlefield 4, with the also for dedicated servers for everything on Xbox One, Battlefield 4, we might just see 64 players on your Xbox, like you did in Battlefield 3 with your PC. Also, larger maps will be nicer with these processing powers. They can actually handle more and more. Of course, you have the normal advantages like more people on screen, but I mean, that's just kind of a small thing compared to like first-person shooters, what we actually care about here. Also, we can probably see, if you're a realism fan, you're going to be happy with next generation. We are going to be able to up the ante on that, which will be cool. You're going to have a lot more realistic environments with dynamic foliage and individual grass leaves moving different directions, and the changing weather variations, followed by actual projectiles like in Battlefield or Arma, not heat squares, sensor grids, or whatever you call them in Call of Duty. And it's going to end up becoming a lot more realistic if you're into that stuff. If you're not into that, good news. We can also make it as unrealistic as you want. Quake, just play Quake. You'll be fine. So as you can see there, the gaming industry is really changing now. And there are a few things that are coming through with this. There's not a lot of super advanced things that we can actually look at, though. Anything too advanced would probably be shrouded by the cloud of doubt. However, we can probably guess that next generation, if motion gaming makes a comeback, definitely, especially that Kinect's been shipped with all Xboxes, Kinect might play a bigger role, which at first you're probably like, oh my god, that's so stupid. However, now that everyone has a Kinect, developers have a reason to develop for it and put a lot of time and effort into it. Whoever can really win this motion gaming gold rush really controls a big part of the industry after that. So I'm sure they're going to be working for that. Imagine it, Call of Duty with Kinect. I can see your smiling faces now. Rage comments. This is the dumbest thing ever, man. I'm just telling it like it is, man, brother. Tell it like it is. So we can also probably see a lot more of undynamic events, and what that means is no more cinematography and scripted events. It's going to be a lot more just random and crazy. Kind of like Battlefield with more Frostbite 3 program, we're going to see a lot more destructible terrain, hopefully. Not just, one or two buildings like in Battlefield 3. There's going to be a lot more. Maybe one day we can make everything destroyable, and we can just bring back the bombs from Battlefield Vietnam and make everything unplayable. Wouldn't that be great? So, this is virtually all I really have I could deduct. If you've got anything that you think, please leave in the comments below or send me a private message. If you guys can come up with enough stuff, I might just make a second video and tell you what you guys thought. If that makes sense. Telling what you guys already thought of. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this gameplay. I'm going to try to post more. I've got some more videos that I plan on doing. So, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm always here for you. If you need anything, I'm your best friend here. Give me a hug, brother. Give me a hug. Alright, Trash Man, signing out.